Yes, that was live. Woo!
Jeez, man.
What's going on, man? Happy Friday.
You should have been like a lead guitarist for something like Van Halen or something.
You know what? I should have. That was my second career choice. And I thought, man, you know what? Military sounds a little, more my thing.
Yeah, definitely what every person said when they signed up, actually.
Yeah, naturally. I could go be a rock star, but you know what? Being deployed sounds more fun.
I'll definitely build some better relationships this way.
Yeah, I think that's actually, it's funny you brought that up because one of the things I was tasked to do with my mentor was to create a 25-year goal. Like, where do I see myself in 25 years? Carlin, I've never thought that far out before. My goodness, I'm a visionary. I'm trying to live just one day at a time. Otherwise, I'd be all over the place. For those of you guys, by the way, real quick, if there's anybody else that is having trouble focusing on what to do on the day-to-day stuff, then shoot me a DM. Shoot me a DM right now because I struggle with the same thing. And I have figured out the system to use for anybody else who's scatterbrained or anybody else. If you guys look at a Google Calendar and it's a bunch of rainbows and you just got colors all over the place and you see an entire month and it's oh my gosh, I got all this shit to do. If that overwhelms you like it overwhelms me, shoot me a DM. I actually just did a video on this, on how I organize my day. But yeah, usually I'm just focused on it's okay, what do I need to get done today? What do I need to get done today? Then I wake up tomorrow. What do I need to get done today? So that's how I focus. So to have somebody challenge me to be hey, what's your 25-year goal? I'm I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to even eat for lunch. I don't know, 25 years down the road. You know what I mean? So it's funny you brought that up because part of my 25-year goal is to be a rock star. Go record some music. I've already started. We're homeschooling. As you know, I'm homeschooling my kids this year. And so part of that, I get to do music classes with my kids every day. So we get to dust the dust. I get to, get the dust off my amplifiers, bring out the guitars, all the things. So I'm really excited about it.
Man, I'm sending my kids to you.
Dude, send them. Send them. I would love it. That would be awesome. We're going to have a good time. So send them up here, Carlin. Send them up for the summer. And, we'll record some music and go on tour. And then I'll send them back to you before school starts.
Oh, school started yesterday.
Oh, dang it. Okay, next year.
So close.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Thank Growth. It's Friday. For those of you guys that don't know, TGIF, you're about to. Yeah. This is a place where you guys come and learn, and we have fun together, and we grow together. Give you guys tips and tricks and all the things you need to grow your business. Here, this is actually a great way. And here's the perfect way, if I could in one sentence describe how TGIF is different and benefits everybody, it's this right here. Most people don't have a problem with information. Information is everywhere. It's not information that you're lacking, guys. That's keeping you from where you want to be. Okay, it's not information. What it is. I'm gonna go back to what I said before. What it is sounded better. Sounds weird. Wrong here. It's not information you're lacking, guys. It's implementation. That's what you guys are lacking. It's not, you guys aren't lacking information here. There isn't something that you guys don't know or haven't heard of. What you're lacking is structure. What you're lacking is the right habits. What you're lacking is accountability. What you're lacking is implementing all of these things in a very step by step structure. And you're lacking the implementation on how to track it. That's all it is. That's what this podcast is here for. For those of you guys that don't know, Thank Growth It's Friday is our podcast that coincides with our mentorship, the Growth Co. Whoop, whoop. So welcome. Whoop, whoop. If there's anybody, is there anybody, put a 1 in the chat if this is your guys' first time here. Do we have any newcomers here today? Cool. So far, everybody's been here before. Cool. So you guys know what to expect. We like to have fun here. Love to interact with you guys. I like to keep these podcasts, honestly, as two-way conversationally as we absolutely can. Sean Clark.
Sean Clark.
Look who it is in the comments. It's Sean Clark.
Sean Clark.
Sean Clark, thank you for being here, bro. Thank you for being here. Carlin, before we get into today's episode, which I'm really excited about, parenthood, passion, and passive income. 3 of my favorite topics. You guys are going to love today's episode. Before we get too deep into this, Derek says we're all OGs. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about, because everybody who is here for growth.
Except someone named Haley. I don't know who Haley is.
Haley here. Haley's about to find out. Dick, what's going on, baby? Thank you. Oh, we gotta get Deb to. We gotta show her how to change her name here. Deb, I want to see you at the top of the hour, and we're gonna go over this during open office hours. We're gonna get you hooked up here, okay? All right. So before we get into today's episode, Carlin, let's go over a few announcements that we have. Why don't you start us out?
Ooh, okay. My favorite starting point is always book club. So book club, we are wrapping up The Compound Effect, thanks to Sean Clark. So that's actually next Friday, right? So next Friday, the 16th at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. And we're going to be just kind of touching on the big finale, like the big kahuna of how the compound effect affected us and what we digested from it and how we can implement it and what it actually really means, and get into some more actionable steps for how we can utilize the compound effect, because it has been a phenomenal book. I really can't emphasize enough how important it is to have consistent habits, but it's also really important to start at a level where it is sustainable. Because if you've never ran a mile, you want to start out walking quarter miles. You don't want to just go full send on that 1 mile and suffocate like I did. So from experience, I'm going to attest to that. That's not a good idea. But yeah, I would love to see everybody there and really engage with everyone, meet new people. Book club always has the best group. Like, we always have amazing conversations. Every now and then we'll be chatting it up about different books that are actually applicable to the books that we're reading. So you can get some really cool suggestions that way as well. So if you're newer into reading and you want some good suggestions, book club is the place to meet people who like books.
I love it. AB Dawson 79 is in the house. What's going on, Allison? Hello, Allison. I love it, dude. Like, this is how we roll, man. Everybody's like so just welcoming, and it's very very family oriented podcast, but not family rated.
Yeah, it's Rex rated.
It's Rex rated. For those of you guys that don't know, one of our previous clients that went through our mentorship, his name is Rex. Fantastic, amazing, good looking, the best looking individual, and told him to start a podcast, and he needs to name it Rex Rated. And so I think that's what he did. So he's working on building that right now. So that's always kind of our inside joke. And now you guys get the opportunity to be inside that joke. I've got one more announcement, but before we kick this off, one of the things that we did, as you guys can see, we started solely kind of just switching over to YouTube. We did a live inside the Growth Co. Facebook group yesterday. Well, we usually do the lives inside the Growth Co. Facebook group, if you guys didn't know, every single Thursday at 2 p.m. Facebook is getting Eastern. Thank you. Facebook's going to kind of getting a little silly-dilly with their algorithms. So with us switching over, I think we're going to start doing more stuff on YouTube and more stuff on the gram. So if you guys are not, if we're not friends on Instagram, I'm going to be putting a lot more content out over there. If you guys would love to be part of that content, to be in on the conversations, I'm going to start doing a lot more lives over on Instagram. So make sure you guys are following Carlin and I. We're going to have some awesome stuff going on over there. At Jesse R. Stanton, at Carlin Hostert. Make sure you guys go over there. Go follow us right now because we got a lot of really great stuff that we have going on. Did a giveaway yesterday, and we had a live that we did. Instead of doing it inside the Growth Co. Facebook group, we brought it to YouTube, and that's been really fun. So I feel like these go... Sean Clark, yes, you got to start an IG now, bro. I'm so glad you brought this up. I'm going to pick on you for a second. Not in a bad way, but because I love you. If there's anybody else that's trying to grow their business, spoiler alert, you need to be on the gram. Okay, get over to the gram. If you guys don't have a gram, start a gram today. Put that on your to-do list. Make it a non-negotiable. Starting a gram, you guys got to have a gram. Make it a non-negotiable. Get it done today. With that being said, if I could just ask you guys one favor real quick. I've got one more announcement, and then we're going to get into today's podcast. For those that don't know that we are on YouTube, just kind of getting the word out and saying, hey guys, we are no longer doing these lives like, in and around Facebook or inside the Facebook groups. We're going to bring everything to YouTube. If you guys wouldn't mind, just take a screenshot and just go share it real quick and just say, hey guys, for those of you guys that don't know, we got TGIF going on right now every single Friday, and this is being moved solely to just the YouTubes since Facebook has done an amazing job of kind of throttling some of the algorithm stuff. So with that said, if you guys wouldn't mind, go make a post, go share it. Let's bring more people into this family. Our last announcement while you guys are doing that, we have our final live class. This is the last one. Man, I am on a roll, which is, I don't know what it is with the... I might just get some random ass accents out today. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's Friday after all, guys. Let's have fun today. You never know what kind of accents I'm gonna just throw out. I don't even know if they're real accents or not. But we got our final class, our final live class starting on the 21st. We got just under 2 weeks before our final class starts. Now, Carlin, I just want to hear your thoughts really quick. We just graduated our last live cohort last night. My goodness. Getting to know the individuals in there, getting to see their growth, getting to see like literally from day one. And there was a lot of mental hurdles. It was honestly like, and don't take my word for it. Like, go talk to somebody who's in our mentorship. Go talk to somebody who's going through our program right now. Don't listen to me. Don't pay attention to me. Go talk to them and see if this is a good fit for you. What I give, the information that I give and the peek behind the curtain that I give everybody, you literally are not going to get it anywhere else. It doesn't get more intimate than this. And that's why everybody grows. Everybody gets to see the entire puzzle. Don't talk to me. Don't take my word for it. I implore you, if you're not where you want to be in your business, don't talk to me. Go talk to somebody else who's going through it and see if that's a good fit for you. It was kind of emotional last night. Carlin, I don't know. I've gotten to be like, I used to be a guy that never cried. I was never emotional. I never cried. Was not a crier. I like to still think that I'm not, but my gosh, ever since I've started having kids, I've become so much more emotional. I don't know. Like Taken with Liam Neeson. I can never watch that movie the same again. Like before kids, then after having kids, like two totally different perspectives here. You know which movie I'm talking about, yeah?
In your defense, that movie has made me nervous to let my kids play out front. So
true. It made me nervous. Like Tiff said she was going to Ireland, and I was like, ooh, like that's the first thing I think of anytime anybody goes to Europe. Like, boom, Taken, Liam Neeson.
You should make sure you don't get in the cab with anyone, please. I'm
going to be checking in with Tiff a lot. But last night, just as we were wrapping it up, as everybody's kind of graduating, man, it got me in the feels a little bit. I don't know if anybody could see it. I don't know if anybody could tell, but man, it got me in the feels, man. It was neat to see the growth of everybody. We literally took 5 years. We shaved 5 years off in just a couple months. 5 years. I mean, think about the hamster wheel that most people are on. And it takes, I mean, that's 5 years at a minimum. We shaved a minimum of 5 years off the learning curve. And we have our last live class that we are doing in just under 2 weeks before we start changing everything up about this. Get in while you guys can. Do not miss up on this opportunity. Classes are limited. The cohort's limited. We keep it that way for a reason, because it's all about results. Want to see results. It's not more information you guys need. You need somebody to take you by the hand and hold your hand and show you step by step. This is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to do it. Oh, you have some mindset issues around that? Great. Let's walk through that fire together. So we have our final class coming up on the 21st. Carlin, am I missing anything about that? Anything else anybody should know before we get into it?
We actually are running a promo. So if you want more information on the promo specifically, talk to the person that I've never met before, Haley Sean. She might actually have some pretty cool golden nuggets on the details of that. So hop on over and talk to this stranger. She's pretty
Get
cool,
over there.
actually.
Ooh, we also had I guess there was just one more thing. I did a live yesterday with Creighton, DJ Cray, we like to call him, Creighton Bertrand, amazingly wonderful individual. He looked great. I totally did not. His camera was off, and then he's like, "Hey, Kay, I'm ready," and I pulled him up, and then his camera came on, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude!" Like, he got all gussied up for the ball. He literally looked like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, dude. He looked so good.
Did you? Now I'm gonna have to go find.
Oh, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Suit jacket. He's got his beef hanging out, like shirts, like basically unbuttoned down to his belly button. Dude, it was good. It was great. It was a treat for all of us. And he and I, for those of you guys that don't know Creighton Bertrand, he's an amazing and wonderful individual. He is a mindset and self-development coach. And we're going to be doing some collaborating together. We have a webinar, a free webinar, just free value, free webinar that we're going to be doing next Thursday. Okay, hear me now, guys. We're doing a free webinar next Thursday. If you guys want more information about this webinar, I need you to shoot myself, Carlin, or Haley a DM right now so that we can send you the link. Do it right now or you're going to forget. Shoot us a DM if you want the webinar that Creighton and I are going to be putting on for you guys next Thursday. Shoot me a DM and I will get you guys that link later today. And then I think that's it.
With the exception of Zach's underwriting, which he can't afford to miss anyway.
Yeah, you can't afford to miss Zach's underwriting, which is top of the hour immediately following this. If any of you guys are struggling with underwriting, Zach Bush is an amazing and wonderful individual. Make sure you guys get registered for his Zooms, and you guys can bring deals to him. He will underwrite them live. So we're here for you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. So let's get into this a little bit. Carlin, let's go back to when you were 8 years old, circa 2003. Did you always grow up when you were 8 years old, Carlin? Did you always dream of being a wholesaler?
Oh yeah, that was the goal. I definitely knew what that was. It was very much on my radar. I was like, I definitely don't want to be a veterinarian.
Naturally.
Have absolutely zero interest in animals. So
right.
I think I'm going to exhaust myself mentally by wholesaling real estate.
Naturally.
That's exactly what I was thinking in third grade. I was like, this is my whole life ambition right here.
This is what I'm dedicating my entire life to. The Dalai Lama, I'm going to dedicate my life to wholesaling right here. I can go be a rock star or hear me out on this. I'm going to go wholesale some properties.
Exactly what my thought process was. I was like, you know what, Miss Kelly, I got this. And then she was like, okay, great, Carlin. You don't need to know cursive.
That's right. You get somebody else to draft up the contracts.
Yeah, it was great.
You're good. You don't need to know how to spell and read and all those things. You go into wholesale. So tell me about your journey. Like, let's start off with you recently, there's an AC story, and I love this story. Tell me about what is the AC story for everybody who doesn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about this AC story.
The AC has been like the bane of my existence since we moved back to New Mexico. So for anyone who doesn't know, if you live in the Southwest, it is default tradition. Doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you do, doesn't matter. It is a long-standing Southwest tradition that your AC goes out in the middle of summer, generally on the hottest day of the year. And so that's exactly what happened. And that's kind of where the journey into real estate started with the AC. So we got it fixed the first time. We're like, okay, this is great. You know, James tweaked around with it. We had to actually call the AC repair guy. And that was like a $300 check or something crazy like that. We're like, oh, okay. So we paid the guy because the warranty is now null and void on that. Like it expired, and we're like, oh crap, okay. And then thinking everything is fine and dandy, we continue to move on with life. About a week later, the AC goes out again. We're like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Our house is at like 87 degrees. I'm pregnant. I am pregnant at this point in life. Yeah.
I could not imagine.
So the girls were, gosh, they're 8 now. That was 3 years ago. So they were 5, and Okie Bear was about 1.5-ish. Somewhere around there. And I'm pregnant. Like 87 degrees is not sounding good for the house right now.
Dude, those are prime conditions for pregnant women.
Thriving.
It's where they thrive.
Yeah. So horrible conditions in the house, hot, the kids are cranky, I'm cranky, and James comes home from work. I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. Like, I need you to fix this. So for anyone who doesn't know, my husband is a glorified electrician in the military. He works avionics. So he's good with wiring generally, unless you happen to be working on an AC. So, so he's in the backyard working on the AC. And right where the AC unit is, we have a door that comes inside. So I'm over on the other side of the yard working, and I didn't know that he went into the house. So I'm like mowing the lawn, shoveling some dirt, doing all that dumb stuff that pregnant women probably shouldn't be doing. And I hear an explosion. Not just like a bing, like a big explosion. And I look over, and there are fumes, there's smoke, there's dead grass, and I'm panicking. Like, oh my gosh, the military is going to cut me a check now. What do I do? And I walk over there, I'm like trying to look around, like, okay, where is he? And, you know, pregnant, you can't really go into the toxic fumes. So I'm trying to figure out where everything is, where my husband is, what's going on. And he pops out, and I look over. He's thankfully still alive. He comes out the other door. I'm like, okay, that's one check off the box. We're good on that front. What do we do about the AC? And so we have the AC company come back out. They're like, hey, this is going to run you between $6,000 and $7,000. For context, James was the only provider in the family at that time. He was the only one working. And I don't know how many people who are fully aware of what happens in the military. You could work 10 hours a week, or you could work 90 hours a week. Doesn't matter. You get paid the same. And so I'm internally panicking. James is externally panicking. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to cover this bill? Because military pay pays just enough to survive. And so I start digging into the YouTubes, start going down that rabbit hole. I'm looking at crypto. I'm looking at stock markets. I'm looking at how I can be a delivery driver with 3 kids. Like, I'm trying to figure it out. And I stumble across something that's like, oh, you can make easy money wholesaling real estate. It's like, I like houses. Let's see what this is about, I guess. And And I start digging into the wholesaling. And this, actually, I'm going to put a pin right here because this really ticks me off, actually. This really ticks me off. This particular aspect. They're like, it's as easy as talking to a seller, signing a contract, and selling the home. It is not. There are so many moving parts in wholesaling a property. And I had no idea. I was just trying to figure out how we were going to pay for this freaking AC. So I stumble into this. I'm like, okay, let's figure out what's going on. Watching all the YouTube videos, buying books. James has accepted his fate and is like, okay, well, I guess if she's buying books, I kind of have to commit to this. And that's actually where you come into the picture, Jesse, because James is home and he's like, hey, I actually know this guy. His name is Jesse. We were in the military together. I know he does real estate stuff. I'm pretty sure he just made a post that said he bought a house for the price of a cup of coffee. It's like, I don't know what he does. I don't know what he's about, but you should reach out to him. I was like, don't really want to reach out to your friends, but all right. And so that's actually the point that you and I connected, Jesse. I remember sending you the message. I was like, hey, my name is Carlin. You worked with my husband in the Air Force. His name is James Hostert. And you're like, great, let's get on a call. And I remember the wild goose chase of real estate that was the first year of my life, dude. Like so vividly, clearly. I remember talking to you and you're like, okay, so do you know what the 4 pillars are? It's like, no, tell me about it. You're like, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go talk to someone and you're going to collect this, 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 and this. I was like, okay, easy enough. Find a FSBO. I go in there like a total asshole with my clipboard, writing down all the things that are wrong with this house. And I come back. I'm like, okay, now what do I do? And you're like, oh, okay, we're going to calculate the MAO. I was like, all right, acronyms, definitely military here. And so we learn the MAO, calculate the MAO. I go back to that seller. I'm like, hey, I know you're asking for 140, but I can give you 67. How does that sound? And that seller basically told me to kick rocks. So for the next several months after that, I was working really, really hard. You had introduced me to PACE. So I was doing like all of the challenges there, trying to do literally everything I possibly could. Well, we got our first check. It took me about like 4 months-ish, I want to say, connecting with like the big wigs, trying to get on the radar of anyone who could help me with this situation. So finally got our check, paid off the AC, joined a program. Yeah. And then a few months later, you and Chris were actually elephant leaders. And like Allison said, that's where the Tribe of Millionaires came into play. So the AC experience just opened up this entire funnel of what became my life and where my life is now. If my AC hadn't exploded, I would not be here. I would not be in real estate. I would not be trying to build my portfolio bigger. I would not be doing anything in real estate if my AC had not exploded.
Isn't that interesting how this domino effect has?
It is like one topple after another. And it has been so much fun because, have you ever seen that picture where it has like the little tiny domino and then the dominoes just gradually get bigger?
Mm-hmm.
That's how this is. Like, that's the way I perceive my life. It's not like dominoes that are just knocking each other over in a chain. It's like one little domino creates this ripple effect.
I agree. And then after your husband eventually got brought into the picture,
mm-hmm.
and
I drag him with me everywhere.
Oh my gosh. It's been the neatest thing getting to know you guys and your beautiful family. So tell us a little bit, like, you showing up, you've got your clipboard, you're calling, give us a little bit more insight into what do the next several months look like? What did the next year look like for you guys? How did you spend your time? What were some of the frustrations you were having? What was your experience? What went well?
Okay, there's a lot of things that went really well, and there's a lot of things that didn't go well. So one thing I learned through that experience, and I think this is a really big reason that other people struggle, is when you go into relationships with people in like a bigger picture, it's not like getting married to someone. Like you need to continuously be building relationships and networking and meeting new people and working with new people. Like you have to. And I didn't know that. I was like, "Hey, I found this person that wants to work with me. I'm going to commit all of my time and my energy to one person." And it was just very exhaustive because I wasn't getting where I needed to go. I was doing something that didn't make me feel fulfilled. James is home. And it didn't feel as gratifying as I thought it would. I actually really didn't like wholesaling at all because it didn't feel right to me. Like there's just something about it that made me feel uneasy. And so through the duration of that, I made some really good friends. I made some money. That was nice. But it was just so much more than what was portrayed as it would be. And I was just running in circles trying to figure out what I needed to do next, where I needed to go next. And when you're doing it by yourself, you're literally doing every single step. And you know, if having 3 kids and being pregnant wasn't enough, it was very mentally and emotionally draining just trying to maintain all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. That was pretty similar to my experience in wholesaling as well. It's like you can go make money, but it's not what everybody portrays it to be. It's not one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, you just go talk to a seller, negotiate it, you get it under contract, and then just go fucking sell it to somebody else. And then now you've got there's 10 or 15 grand. Like you do that several times a month, boom, there you go. You're done.
So
super easy. And
oh, sorry, I gotta hit on that one though.
Go ahead.
Like it hurts my heart because so many people put so much time and energy and effort. And if you're getting $10,000, $15,000 on a wholesale deal, you're doing good. Like, don't be deceived by the people that are doing $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 checks. That's not that they worked for that. There were a whole lot of things they had to do. 10, 15,000, that's a good check for wholesaling. The people that I see regularly are getting paid like $1,600, $1,700. And I know for a fact that they are running as fast as they can. And it frustrates me to see that because I know the hours that they're committing to that. And I know the work that they're doing to that. And man, for $1,600, like that's less than a W-2.
Yeah. It's not and you know, it's funny you brought up the people that are making like that much money per month. You know, if people are making regularly $40,000 or $50,000 a month wholesaling, or even closer to even the 6-figure range. For those people that are doing that, there's not a lot of people that have the systems and processes and things in place. Like there's a lot of people that are doing those figures, and they are literally working 80 to 90 hours a week. There's so much follow-up. There's so much involved with wholesale. It's a grind, man. It's a grind. And then it's in order to get paid, you have to go and do it all over again. And if financial freedom is your goal, if that's what you're after, each time you get a wholesale fee, it's like putting a Band-Aid on it. It's like, could you imagine creating a life where every freaking second it was just you had to put another Band-Aid, another Band-Aid, another Band-Aid, another Band-Aid. And I heard this thing from, oh my gosh, who was it? I saw a reel earlier this week, and it was really neat. It was from I wish I could remember who it was. It was from somebody, one of these gurus out here that are making just millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he was hosting a party at his house, and he had other really wealthy, individuals at this party. And this individual who was hosting the party had a private chef there. And this guy pays this private chef to cook these amazing meals for him and his family. He pays him $10,000 a month. to be his private chef and serve all the meals and all this other kind of stuff. And one of the other guys who was wealthier than the guy who was hosting the party came up to him and he said, dude, I can't believe this is how you're spending your money. Like, you're wasting 10 grand a month on a private chef and you're doing all this. Like, think about, like, you could be investing it here. You could be doing this. You could be doing that. And he's like, the host, he stopped him and he's like, yeah, I could be making more money. But you know what? I'm living a better life. The quality of life I'm living is better than yours. And just put him in his tracks. And he's like, he just had nothing to say about that. And I thought, man, that is really, really interesting, because I feel like, to an extent, that's that person who's wholesaling, that person who's striving and grinding and doing all those things is kind of like the equivalent. Is like, yeah, you can go make all this money and you can work 80, 90 hours a week, but you can do a good portion of that and have all of the time. Like, you can have a much better quality of life. Like, isn't that what we're all working for anyway?
Yeah,
I mean, you can replicate all of that by buying properties. I mean, we pay ourselves out at least 10 grand to go buy properties. Plus we get all the passive income and everything else from it. But I think there's just the point that I'm trying to get is there's just this huge stigma of individuals that think that wholesaling is just, hey, just go out here. It's 1, 2, 3 Lamborghini. That's the best way to describe it.
Whoever coined that was a genius.
Spoiler alert, it was Carlin. I love that. So kind of tell me a little bit more about this transition, like, from your experience, it being just this hamster wheel and this thing where, yes, you can go make some money. And like you said, 10 to 15 grand on a wholesale fee, that's great. But then as you guys have gotten deeper into your real estate endeavors, as you've increased your lens, your perspective on what a business could look like and what other ways there are to do what it is you're trying to do and accomplish what you're trying to accomplish with a much more path of least resistance. Tell me about what that transition looked like for you.
Well, so for starters, like, anyone who's talked to me knows that in my bigger picture goals, that includes real estate in other countries. That includes my elephant sanctuary. That will never let up. I might not have a heavy focus on it right now, but it's something that's constantly on my radar. And through wholesaling, I'm looking at these checks and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, how am I ever going to take care of elephants with this amount of money? Like that's, if you're getting a $15,000 check generously every 3 months, that's $5,000 a month dispersed. And at $5,000 a month dispersed, with the way the economy is transitioned, that's enough for, a family of a soccer team to survive. So we have the one up where we do have James pay, but I like traveling and I like doing all these things. And we were actually, let me go back to this. Mm-hmm. When we were wholesaling, we went on vacation. It was a 3-week vacation across the country to go visit all of our families. James and I spent a large amount of that time on meetings, calling sellers, talking to buyers, talking to dispositions, talking to TCs, talking to liaisons, talking to calling title, doing all these things.
Yeah.
And it was a very heightened awareness that the life I like to live and the life I would like my children to live do not align with the way that particular avenue of money comes from. And so seeing how all of these things are unfolding, seeing the progression of the things that I want to happen in my life, it was just kind of like, I remember calling you. Actually, I remember calling you. I was in my car. I was driving down White Sands Boulevard, and it was for one of our Monday morning checkups. For those of you who were curious, when Jesse and I before we were working together specifically in the Growth Co., we just call and check up on each other every Monday. It was routine. That's the way we started our week. If I didn't call Jesse, I'd get a call from him and be like, what are you doing? How's your week going? What's going on? And I remember talking to you one morning. I think it was January, actually, because that was the same call where I asked if you could blow bubbles and they'd freeze in Alaska. We still don't have an answer on that, by the way. And I remember saying to you, I was just like, dude, I am so tired. I hate this. This is so much work. It does not bring me joy. I am exhausted mentally and emotionally. My child is due in a month. I don't have the energy to get up and make these calls. I don't have the energy to maintain the way that my children need to live. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just burnt out. And that's the point where everything transitioned from wholesaling to how am I going to buy and hold? Who do I need to talk to make this happen? How am I going to do this? And yeah, it took a little bit of time, but starting to really grasp the understanding, like starting to really get clarity on why these people say, hey, go make out 50 connections. Like, okay, I guess I'll just go talk to 50 people. There was just a light bulb that went off in my head. I was like, oh, I get it. I need to go talk to 50 people and actually be intentional with the way I'm talking to these people. It's not just like, hey, how many kids do you have? I've got 4 almost. like there's just this big aha moment where it's like, okay, I can actually build relationships with these people and figure out how to work with these people. And that's the way I transitioned things like that. It was a realization of I cannot do this for myself, for my family, for my kids, for the people around me. This isn't benefiting anyone. These checks are not worth it to me. The amount of work I have to put into it is not worth it to me. I'm okay with the challenge. You can ask anyone. I will not back down from a challenge. But when my mental health and my physical exhaustion start coming into play, that's a really big sign to say, hey, you need to figure something else out. It's okay if something doesn't work because you can use that as an experience to find something better. And that's kind of where that big pivot made. So I remember I looked into multifamily for a little bit, kind of figure out if I wanted to be there. Didn't actually find anything that really stood out to me in that space. And then started developing partnerships outside of that. And that's kind of where I was like, oh, okay, I'll just build my portfolio this way, work with other people. And then, of course, I dragged hubby along for that. So naturally.
Tell us we don't hang out together. So what are some of the things that you've noticed after? So now we're well a year into the growth code now. Fast forward like several years after all this stuff. What are some of the things that you're seeing from where you started, where a lot of our clients started, versus the things that they are doing now?
Something that I've noticed routinely is intentionality. So everyone knows go make 50 friends. That's like a coined phrase. Go make 50 friends. Most people have no idea why they're making 50 friends. Mm-hmm. They don't know what they're looking for with their 50 friends. They don't know what conversations they need to have with their 50 friends. And that was something that hit heavily for me. Like, okay, it's easy. Like, I mean, easy to a degree. 50 friends, the people I need to be able to build a portfolio are people with money and people with deals. Like, I love meeting people that I can help along the way, and I will nurture the crap out of those relationships because you never know what's going to happen in the future. But when I see a lot of people starting to where they are now, a lot of it is the uncertainty of why they need to build these relationships. And a lot of it is the mentality of, I can just do this by myself. And the fact of the matter is, no, you can't do it by yourself. And if you do, it's going to take a lot longer. And it's going to be a lot harder. And it's going to be a lot more lonely, too.
It's definitely not the path of least resistance.
Well, no, I mean, it's like It's like you're drowning in the ocean and a ship comes by and they're like, here, take this life vest, take this buoy. And you're like, no, I've got it. Like,
that is the perfect, yeah, that's the perfect way to describe that.
this is what it feels like. And I've been there. I've done that. It sucks.
You know, it reminds me, man, being able to, just going back to like last night's graduation for everybody, and just looking at what everybody went through and what they learned and what they've implemented, what they've taken action on and all that kind of stuff. Like you can literally see the growth, like almost like physically, in a weird way. You can almost like physically just see the growth. You can see everybody's like the way they carry themselves even is completely different. Oh my gosh, the confidence. Yes, exactly. Like just you can just see the freaking aura, man. And it was cool because the brain is this beautiful and wonderful thing. And as you take that new information, you implement it in an appropriate way, and then you learn, that becomes your new minimum operating level. That becomes the new standard in which you operate. You know, one of the biggest questions that I have a lot of people ask me on their podcast is, if you had it over to do again, like what would you do different? To see what our clients are doing and what they would do differently just over the course of just a couple months is phenomenal. Because if they had to go get a deal, or if they had to go make money, the first thing they're not going to do is go door knock a bunch of properties. The first thing they're not going to do is go skip trace a list and call for 8 hours. And it's neat to see where that growth is. It's neat to see the transformations that people have, and they see the bigger picture. They see this puzzle piece from a very different vantage point, perched up on a very, on a different level, and being able to see and be like, oh yeah, like obviously I'd never do that. This is what I would do. And so being able to think like that, being able to understand and being able to implement and execute on that level, that's something, guys, that will never, ever, ever go away. When you're out here swimming and people are like, hey, like here's a buoy, like here's a life jacket, like get on board, like let me take you faster to your goal. And people are like, no, I got it. I'd rather sit here and doggy paddle to Hawaii. It's like, what are we doing, man? Do you realize how much faster you can go by being around the right people, really seeing how people think and how they act and how they implement and how they execute? It's very, very different. And no, thank you for sharing your story. It man, I feel like, just as a parent of 4, I feel like I really resonate with that. A spouse that works. As you know, I was in the military, and I was juggling me being in the military, plus 4 kids, and living an hour away from base, plus having a working wife and a newborn at the time. Now, I wasn't pregnant. It wasn't, thankfully, wasn't my turn to be pregnant this time. Unfortunately, she drew the short straw all 4 times.
I'm sure you rigged that.
I don't know how that happened. I was fair though. I did give her the option. I did hold out the sticks. Pick your stick. But I really resonate with a lot of what you said, and I can absolutely man, I felt the emotion as you were describing just some of the things you were going over. And I just see the parallels, so many parallels between your story, my story, and a lot of our clients. The things that they're doing, the things that they would do just a couple of months ago to go make money is not what they would do today. And it was really just cool to be able to see your growth, and thank you for sharing your journey.
Sean Clark.
Thank you for sharing what you truly love to do now, and being able to take your experiences and helping people thrive and build just beautiful and amazing and abundant lives, a better quality of life. It doesn't have to be this thing where you're walking up a backwards escalator that's going down, and you're walking up a 10-mile escalator that's going down. And you're just like, no, I'm fine. I don't need to take the elevator. I'm just going to continue walking up a backwards escalator.
I'll get there eventually.
I'll get there, but then you do 8 hours of walking up a backwards escalator, and then you got to sleep, right? Then you get tired, you got to take breaks, and then it carries you back down, and then you got to freaking go back up again. It's like, no, my goodness, there is a better way. Why is it military families have 4 kids?
We like to see how much we can challenge ourselves.
Well, in Alaska, there really isn't much else to do.
Same for New Mexico.
Well, we're getting ready to wrap this thing up, Carlin. Is there anything else that you'd like to add? Anything else that everybody else, should know or consider?
Oh boy. There's a lot. So if you guys have any other questions and you want to get on a personal level, you can send me a message. I'm happy to share anything. I'm an open book. But man, I wouldn't be here without you. Like, you've been here from the beginning of my journey. You're still here. You're my partner. You're my bestie.
Besties for the resties.
Besties for the resties. Dude, just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You know what? It's neat. It's just, maybe this is kind of a good note to end on here, guys. I want everybody to take a second. If you guys have something to write down, write this down. Somebody else's life will be different because of who you choose to be today. I know it's easy, like when people come on and do podcasts and just talk about what they're doing and the changes they made, and there are easier way of doing things for sure. There are simpler way of doing things for sure. But it's not always sunshine and rainbows. I go through my own shit. Carlin goes through her own stuff. That's just part of being an entrepreneur.
We've used way more bitch cards than we said we were going to this year.
On days when you feel like quitting, and you will, no matter what stage you are, you will. Just know that somebody else's life will be different because of who you choose to be today. I'm very honored and grateful of the opportunity to be here with you guys, to be partners with Carlin, such an amazing and wonderful woman and mother and wife, partner, and be able to come here and do these things and, help you guys. And I hope you guys are getting value of this. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. Thank you guys for allowing us to have some of your guys' time today. So really appreciate that, and just kind of let this be a testament that because of who you choose to be today, somebody else's life will be changed tomorrow. The decisions those people make will be different because of the things you choose to be today. Because despite the struggles, despite the anxiety, despite all the things that happen just as a byproduct of being an entrepreneur and a business owner, simply just not having an off button, somebody's life will be different because of you, because that's the way you choose to live your life. That's all I've got for you guys. Hope you guys have an amazing Friday. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. For those of you guys that are Growth Co clients, we have our open office hours starting right now. And if you guys need help with underwriting, Zach Bush is doing his underwriting Zoom right now as well. We'll see you guys next week. Love y'all. Have a great rest of your weekend.